and
This
I've also
conference will now be recorded.
okay. So I'm an Adobe certified developer and practitioner. I have recently given my architect exam as well, and I'm waiting for the certification, that certificate to arrive. That's one thing. I do competitive programming. I have more than 5 years of experience in this ecosystem, and I have been trainer for more than 2 years. My area of expertise in AEM system lies in migration, which happens from higher environment from lower to higher one. Your support activities is like your project is already up and running. You have constant bugs and those things, new enhancements according to the business requirements. You have to keep on doing them and make sure that any issue that is popping up do not occur again. And declarative services or OSTI services, the backend part of AEM, all the component part, template services, workflows, your replication agents, dynamic media, and everything, and the operation sides of AEM. Operation as in how do you design the pipelines to deploy, basically deployment process in various environments, automatic deployment. So this is brief about me, okay, and let's move to the next one. Before we start learning, okay, the first question that comes to our mind is why AEM? Why not something else? Okay, why not Alfresco? Why not Documentum? Why not FileNet? Why not Interwoven? Reason for that is there are two main reasons. One, there is a huge demand for AEM in market right now, and second, there is a huge resource crunch. And there is one more reason, which is AEM is the market leader in its segment, in its non-open source segment. So the resource crunch is because since AEM is non-open source, so today if you decide that, hey, I want to learn AEM, okay, you search for tutorial and everything, but you won't find the AEM software, which is required for you to learn AEM. That's the main reason why there is a resource crunch. The license of AEM can only be afforded by multinational companies, MNCs. We normal people, individual, cannot go and ask Adobe for license. We do not have that kind of money. So more opportunities are there. It's a market leader. Again, since it's a market leader, you have more job opportunities as compared to any other CMSs which exist right now. Then again, you have other features like ease of use. AEM is a part of a suite called as Marketing Cloud. Okay, so Marketing Cloud consists of 7 to 8 products which are developed by Adobe, and they get integrated with your AEM. AEM forms the base, and rest of the products gets integrated with AEM, so that you can leverage your website, or you can leverage the power of other products as well. You have good community support. If you just like Cora, they also have a very great community. Whenever you are stuck somewhere while doing something, you can simply do one thing, that you just have to post the question in the community, and there would always be people answering your questions. Also, Adobe recognizes the people, like on yearly basis, they keep on shortlisting couple of people's, not couple, like many people they shortlist, all the people who are active in their community, and they recognize them, they give them awards, they give them goodies and merchandises. So that kind of Adobe is also supporting all the active members of the community. And another reason is salary. This data was prepared like in January. This was the average salary. Okay. And if you see the graph, which is AEM usage growth, and by the way, this number is not 438, it's 438,000. There is a K appended at the end everywhere. That's how the progression has happened. And I'm waiting for 2021's data to be released so that I can add it in the chart. But till 2020, the number of companies which were using AEM was 3,100K. And salary growth, this is the salary growth I have kept on the lower end. Okay, please mind this. This is the salary growth kept on the lower end, because if you see the salary of a couple of colleagues who started with me and in 5 years where they are, they had started with 3.5 as a fresher. Second year they switched, they directly went to 8, not 6. And this has happened with more than 60% of the people. They went to 8. Third year, again they switched, and they were in, I think, in 12 or 13 bracket. Okay. In the fifth year, they were like 18, 19. And these are my colleagues, okay. And the people who started before me, or people who have 7 to 8 years of experience, they are above 25 right now, 25 LPA in the organizations. That much scope you have of salary growth. And since you people have already decided to join this, you are already aware about the prospect of salary as well and the demand of AEM in the market. Let's move forward. And again, and from software perspective, it has a lot of foundational improvements. You can create websites and manage them. The biggest challenge for any organization is asset management when they are doing digital marketing. So all the assets, when I say asset, what I mean is your images, your videos, your any kind of document that is used in the website. So management, you do not need any documentation system or any document management system to manage this assets. Everything can be managed via AEM. And again, good community support. I rewrote it 2 times. Any questions in this? I guess not. Thank you. Let's move forward. So, prerequisites. HTML, again, basics of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And generally, all the trainings that I've conducted, the people who join the training, they fall in one of these 5 categories. Okay, majority of them, it's the 4, because freshers do not decide that they want to get into ECM domain by themselves. Company pushes them and then they decide to. But again, this is something which need not further explanation. Just I'm giving you a few seconds, read it, and we'll move forward. Going ahead now. So this is what we are going to do in our entire course demo. Sorry, in our entire course. So we'll start with introduction, okay, and installation, again, all these things. The important thing is we'll create the project. We'll start working in a way that how MNCs or how a new you get a new project which is starting from scratch. How do you create the website structure? How do you create the static template? How do you create the page rendering component? Then inside page rendering component, how do you get the parses? After parses, how do you create components? And so on. All these things will follow the standard procedure that all these steps will happen in the development one by one. They may be happening parallelly by other people as well, but if you are the only developer in your project, you would be following these steps. Maybe any step would go up and down, but there won't be a lot of deviations from this flow. Okay, just take a minute and go through it. Any topics you think should be added, we can add it later on in the course. Okay. Moving forward, after the basics, you have advanced. So in advanced, what we are going to learn is your after things. First thing is how Maven works, dynamic templates, policies, the layouts, base templates. How do you create headers and footers? How do you map headers and footers so that they are not authorable on the page? Content fragments, experience fragments, your tagging, OSCI bundles, and some advanced concepts which are popularly used in AEM. Let it be related to debugging, let it be related to, in general, health reports, or maybe your workflows, maybe your application. All those things we would be seeing in the advanced section. And most important part of this course is this add-ons. This is the place, not exactly, it won't be a section like this. During the entire course, I would be teaching you about these things. Okay. I would be explaining the situations or scenarios of the what happens in the real project and how you can tackle them. So this consists of all the things that I have learned so far. Okay. What all tools I use when I'm debugging an application, or whenever someone has given me an error that this is not working correctly. How do I start debugging? How do you read the logs to pinpoint what is happening in the log files? How do you optimize the performance? What all things you should be keeping in mind while doing this? So all those things, whichever I have learned via working on the project, I would be imparting them to you as well. Any questions so far? Anyone? Okay. Now, before we dive into other topics, let's spend some time, couple of minutes, in understanding what exactly, like what kind of software AEM is and its history. So I think you have read the definition by now. That's the software application. CMS is a software application, or is an application that lets you manage and create digital content. So as the name suggests, content management system. And content, this word is very important over here. Content management system is something which manages your content. So what exactly is your content? All the data that gets generated on the website, your text, images, videos, your document, their placement, their files, all those things is a content. And any software that can help you manage that website content is called a CMS. Again, there are n number of CMSs available in the market. Okay, these are the few examples. And before AEM got popularity, you had Documentum, which was on its peak. Then Documentum declined and Alfresco took its place. Right now, there is no competition for Adobe. In the past 3-4 years, there has been no competition, and there has been significant rise in its popularity. And considering me, I'll tell you personally, every week I get 4 to 5 calls from various HRs that they're looking for AEM developers. So imagine, even though my LinkedIn profile says that I'm not looking for a job right now, my Naukri and all those things are like deactivated from 3-4 years, still I get the calls. So that much demand you have in the market if you know things. Again, from history perspective, AEM started as a CQ5. Okay, the initial name of AEM was CQ5, and it was created by a Swiss company called as D Software. And full form of CQ was communicate. So that's why when I'm not sure if you have observed it or not, but in the job postings, you may find that they write AEM/CQ5 or CQ5/AEM developer. Okay. Then again, this company was acquired by Adobe in 2010, okay, for some hefty amount. And after that, Adobe renamed CQ5 to AEM. Okay, that's how AEM came into existence from CQ5. Again, this is not something which you will use in development, but it's good to know about the software that you are going to learn. Any questions?
So sorry, I think you mentioned before, but I missed maybe. How long AEM has been in market for overall? Like initially it was CQ5 and then AEM started, right?
CQ5 got converted to AEM. It's just the functionalities remain the same.
Okay,
Adobe, this CQ5 was launched in 2000,
I
7 years
see.
ago,
Okay. So
but
they
it was,
just used that base system to
yes,
enhance
they
further
renamed
into
it.
it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Right now you have cloud services, you have n number of plethora of things which are there in AEM. So I'll quickly move forward now. This is
thank you.
Adobe. So this is my AEM, which forms the base. Why I say AEM forms the base? Because ultimately, for analytics, for any of these products to work, they need a website to be connected to, right? They need one portal through which they can connect, and the portal is something with which end user interacts. So in that sense, AEM offers you the capability to create the websites and manage the content. So your analytics, primetime campaign, all these products gets integrated on this easily. Now, just AEM is a CMS, and Adobe Analytics, or in short, it's called AA. It is the analytics part of your website. How much time a user is spending on which page, what kind of clicks are happening, where is the focus of the user, all those kind of insights that has to be generated from the user behavior, that is taken care by analytics. Okay. Primetime is another software which gets easily integrated with your AEM. You can run campaigns on your, like if you have an e-commerce website, sometimes you want to run the campaigns just to see how much successful your product is going to be, whether it is the right time to launch it in the market. Or there are many other requirements when we go in the marketing side or campaign side. They have lots of business things that they take care of while running the campaign, what kind of data, what kind of response they are getting from the audience. And you would have seen things on Amazon that whenever a new phone is getting launched, you always have an ad that, hey, this phone is coming soon. This phone is coming soon. These are the features. This is faster than this phone. This is 20% faster than the previous model, and so on. So all those parts of the campaigning strategy, just to see how much hype a product is creating. Then you have media optimizer. Whenever you are streaming something, the prime time and media optimizer work together for your streaming purposes. You have social for sharing the data across various platforms and managing them. You have audience manager, and then you have targeting the audience. For example, let's take the example of Amazon again, where you enter the details. Today you are searching for laptops. Tomorrow you start seeing the advertisements about laptops on other pages as well. So targeting the audience, what kind of audience, like they have in audience manager, you have funnel system where which kind of product would be more popular in which segment of audience. For example, smart technologies or smart gadgets would be more popular between the people who are of age 20, 20 to 30 or 35. The people who are gradually on the later stages of their life, they won't be interested in new tech. They might be interested in some other things. Or old people you target with other products, so on. So this entire 8 products, when they combined with AEM, okay, you get a fully functional revenue generating website. Okay. Any question in this? Anyone?
Hey,
Can
Ashish.
you tell? Okay.
Sorry, Ashish, Muni here.
Yeah.
This course will cover all this individual like analytics, pre-time, prime time with this AEM, or just we are going to cover AEM developers?
Just AEM, because as I mentioned, AEM itself is one product and they also are the products. So 30 hours is not enough to learn about 8 products, how development is done in these. We would
No,
be focusing only AEM.
okay. Or like any major functionalities or any integration. No, actually, we are not going to discuss anything about those, right?
No, because why? Each product requires license.
Okay.
Okay. If they would have been openly available, I would have prepared some things. But since it each requires a license and each has its own learning curve to it, we'll have to spend a lot of time in that.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ashish.
And
Hey,
one more
Ashish.
thing. Yes, yes, please.
What's this prime time you said?
Sorry.
Prime
Prime
time?
time, again, I have never used it, but prime time is something, as the name suggests, this is related to your videos. So prime time and media optimizer, they work together. Media optimizer is basically something, depending on the size of your screen, depending on the size of your width, and some other compaction techniques which is it uses. So whenever you're streaming the data in your live websites, prime time and media optimizer comes into picture. They together they are for your videos and all those things.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, and each of these are individual products. So it's not mandatory that they only get integrated to AEM. They get integrated with your other CMSs as well, or any other website. You just have, like, there are different techniques, but each can be integrated with other websites as well. And let me tell you one thing. In 98% of the projects, I have not seen anywhere where people are using with AEM, they are using primetime, social, audience manager, target. Again, these things happen, but you as an AEM developer, AEM content author, or AEM QA, or AEM backend developer, FE, whatever you are, whatever kind of role you assume in your company, you won't be working with analytics. Okay, because there's always another team who is handling this. There's always another team who is handling campaign part. Majority of the time, or most of the time, you won't be getting any chance. If you're lucky, then you will get. Otherwise, you'll have to learn AEM first, and then you have to request a company that, hey, I want to learn analytics as well, and then they'll plan whatever they wish. So, any more questions in this?
So, Ashish, these analytics like can be helpful, like how many users are browsing our website, and if any user getting the difficulties, can you go and see what time he log in and to find what the root
Yes,
cause?
yes.
You can
Have
do
you
that.
heard of Google Analytics?
Yeah, yeah.
Similar thing. It's Adobe Analytics. Whatever Google Analytics does, it has some other features. Adobe Analytics both performs at the base. Both are for analysis of user behavior. How much time you are spending, where I'm clicking, how much time it is taking to load the page. If I'm going to the cart and coming back again, I'm adding the products, but I'm not checking out. Those kind of details I store about the user. I analyze what kind of data I can generate from that behavior, I send it to Target. Okay. Target decides that, or an audience manager as well, by the way. The same data is sent to Target and audience manager. They decide whether we need to target that audience. Okay, if that audience falls into the channel, and maybe sometimes you would have observed this behavior of many e-commerce websites, that whenever you keep some product in cart, eventually you get a discount on that product, especially only for you.
Okay. So this is like on developer side, developer can also analyze like if user is
Yes,
facing
you
some
can. You have
component
access,
issues,
you can.
we can see, right? I mean,
Yes,
end
exactly.
user is facing the component issues that can debug using this analytics, developer and
No. This is not for development. This is once the development has happened and once the end user is interacting with your website. End user won't be interacting with your components or dialogues, right? As an end user, if I'm going to Amazon as an end user, I see only this thing. I won't see my templates. I won't see my dialogues or components. For me, it's a website. I do not care how it has been built. I just
yeah.
want to use it.
See, Ashish, what is my doubt is, suppose take this example, okay? So now
Mhm.
I am as an end user, I am trying to go for an order, okay, where I am facing the difficulties. Ultimately, it will come to the support team, who is on support team. They supposed,
Yes.
is it possible like so on user got the difficulty on order book an order, so that using this analytics, I mean this analytics can helpful to this the support team can see who is the user, end user, what time he access and why, what is going on for him the problem. I mean, I'm asking the real time.
Yes. Those things are possible, but again, those depends on how much access your company has given to the support team. But yes, those things are possible.
Okay, so at analytics we can map all these things to retrieve so what time user is accessing, and I'm not asking this exception or error details to the logs, but by seeing it quickly can we can debug, right? What is the actual end user where he is not an issue?
Kind of, yes, and also it lets you generate a lot of insights about the data.
Okay.
Right? Whatever data processing that is done to, because ultimately the task of analytics is to give you some positive feedback about or positive details about your website, which you can implement, which will again increase your revenue.
Okay. Thank you, Ashish.
Any more questions?
Yeah, hi, I'm Vasu Modi. So, will you be giving Adobe AEM software or CQ5?
AEM software, latest version.
Like, I think it's a paid version, right? So,
Sorry?
I think AEM software, it has to be uh, like Adobe, it requires Adobe licensing, right?
Yes.
It cannot-
So since I have been trainer and I have been associated with Adobe for a long time, I have the jar files. I would be needing your email so that I can map those jar files with your email IDs. But yes, once the mapping is done, you can use AEM free, like AEM jar file on your local systems for lifetime.
Okay, got it.
I would be sharing all those things along with the license and other things. So moving forward, now we have seen exactly AEM and other things. There's two things that should be remembered over here about AEM is there are two modes in which AEM is running. AEM will be running always. One is author. Okay. So author is a place where all your development, this is okay, single AEM jar can run in two different modes. One is author and one is publisher. Single jar, this is a single jar which would be running in author and which would be running in publisher as well. Now, Author is the place where all your development work would be done. Any component, any template, any workflow, any dialogue, design dialogue, any library, anything that you want to develop would be developed inside author, tested inside author. Okay. And the best practice is that author should be running on even port, even number port. Okay. Just remember this. There is no such hard and fast rule, but it's just a standard practice that many developers follow, and it became a rule now. So any development, any backend development, anything that you want to do, even if debugging, even if you want to test something, would be initially done in author. And once you're happy with the implementation, development, debugging, or any patch that you have applied, this entire development is pushed to something called as publisher. Okay. So what publisher does is, publisher is just a container which holds all the code that you develop. Okay. And it is used to serve the content to the end user. This is my end user. Whenever they request for some data, publisher would be the one which is serving the content to them. They won't get the data from author. We develop things over here, we push it, and we tell that publisher, hey publisher, now you do whatever you want with the data. This is the working software that I have given you. Now you decide whom you want to give the data to, or whosoever is asking, you give the data to them. Okay, and another publish ports are publish instances are usually running on odd port number. For example, if this is running on 4502, then this would be running on 4503. This would be running on 4503. Okay. This is the most basic difference that I can give you. Eventually, we will see lots of other differences. But if I start giving you those things, it won't make any sense right now. So I have not added them in the slide. So any question?
I'm sure here. Yeah, sorry. This odd even is just to keep a simple distinguish between author or publisher, or is there anything more to it?
No. You have n number of ports which are open. You can decide on any port. This is just, for example, today you did the setup. Okay. Today you ran it on, maybe, let's say, you ran the author on 4503 and publisher on 4502. But as per other standards which is followed inside the industry, that author should be running on even port number. Somebody else will come. It will be a confusing scenario for that person.
Okay.
Again, there is no hard and fast rule, but
Standard.
it has just become something which is there.
So basically, these two are, like, as you mentioned, two similar, like they have all the same functionalities between author and publisher, and it's just that you use them for different purpose, or there is a functionality difference as well between author and publisher. Like what you can do with author, you cannot do with publisher, and vice versa.
Yes.
Okay.
Generally, all the authoring and everything would be done in publisher, and then the page would be activated and pushed to publisher. You do not do any kind of activity in publisher. Publisher is just a standstill server which is there. Standstill AEM instance which is there to serve the content to the end user. No development, no error resolution. 99% of the time you won't be touching publisher.
Okay.
Our work will remain in the author environment.
Okay, got it. Like basically kind of a development environment and production environment. So publisher is a production environment, author is the development environment.
No, actually, this entire thing would be there in your production.
Oh, okay.
Okay. One would be author and one would be publisher. Okay, you'll get the answer to this question in the next 1 or 2 slides. Just
All
hold
right.
on to this. Okay.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Any more questions in this? Okay, moving forward. This is the AEM environment setup, and this will answer your question. Okay, let's say this is your production. So in production, you will have author. In front of author, you will have publisher. And there's one more server which hosts a dispatcher. I'll explain what dispatcher is. So it's not limited to any combination that you can have n number of authors, you can have n number of publishers, and similarly dispatchers can also be there. But generally you will see that there's one author, either 1, 2, or any number of 1, 2, 3, 5, 7 number of publishers. Okay, one author, 5 to 7, or maybe one author, one publisher, one author, 2 publishers, 2 authors, 2 publishers, 2 authors, 7, 8, 15 publishers. All those kind of combinations are possible. But always remember, the number of authors will always be low as compared to publishers. The reason being, the number of users who would be using the author environment would be limited to the people who are actually working on the environment, who are making some changes. So all the employees of the organizations or all the development team, maybe authoring team, maybe marketing team, they would be the one who would be using the author instance. So at a particular time, a team cannot be more than 500 members, or more than 600, more than 1,000 users will not be using author environment. So the load on the author environment is not that huge. And just for availability purpose, we create one more author environment for the backup, because you are doing all the development activity in this. And okay, and you won't be doing it in the production, by the way. Okay, let's call it. So you are doing all this production development activity in your author environment, and sometimes it will happen that you end up breaking author environment. And at the same time, if business wants to author things, they can move to author 2 and they can simply perform their regular activities by the time author 1 is coming up. Okay. And again, you have publishers. Publishers are the ones which provides data to the end user. And the communication. Let's just focus on the communication over here. You have data which you can push from author to publisher via activation or application agents. Similarly, whatever data that is generated on publisher, your user generated data, that can also be pushed to the author environment. Maybe this author or maybe this author, either is fine. And then dispatcher is a caching mechanism. So as per the caching rules, it caches the pages, the content, whatever you want dispatcher to cache, it can cache it. So whenever end user will request for the data or any kind of page, first request will come to dispatcher, then dispatcher will check if it has the valid cache or no. If yes, then dispatcher will send it, end of story. Publisher won't be disturbed. But if the data is not present, then dispatcher will disturb publisher. It will ask for the data. Then publisher will provide the data to dispatcher. According to the caching rules, dispatcher will decide whether it has to cache the data or no. If it has to cache the data, it will cache it and then share it to the end user. If not, caching is not allowed, then it will directly share it to the end user. This is one thing. And another thing is why we keep number of publishers high, because of availability. It makes sure that your system is available across the entire users at all time. For example, let's say the limit of this one is 50,000. Okay. each there are 2 publishers, and each publisher can handle 50,000 requests in one go. So dispatcher also does the load balancing for you. So initially, if there are only 20,000 requests which are coming, so it's job of dispatcher to make sure that not all 20,000s are given to this guy. It gets almost equally divided between these two. That this is handling approximately 10K, and this publisher is handling 10K requests in one go. So this also manages your load. And one more thing, for example, let's say the limit was 50K. So this will also be 50K limit. Suppose it can handle 100K number of requests in one go. Okay. This is the system which can handle. Tomorrow, if the number of users increases than this at a one particular time, then you have to incorporate another publisher 3, and the limit of your system will increase to 150K users at a time. So the higher the number of publishers, higher is the load you can handle, and your system will be available. Imagine when your limit, you only have 2 publishers. This is not present for the time being. And let's say the person whenever the person, for example, 1 lakh users are already interacting with the system, and whosoever is coming after 1 lakh, they'll get the message that system is down, maybe system is busy, or all those things, which creates a negative user experience. So that's why the number of publishers will always be more as compared to 1. Any question in this?
Sorry, this request number that you mentioned, 50,000 is the capacity. This is per second?
Right? Yes, at a particular time. If, for example, any request that will come to the publisher, the publisher is serving that request. At the same time, it can handle, like, again, this is not the limit. This is the number which I just made up.
Oh, okay.
Depending on the CPU, depending on the server capabilities that you are opting for, this number can be very low or it can be very high.
I see. But there is no way to store the queuing up of requests. Like if, let's say the capacity, as you mentioned, is 50.
You can integrate Kafka over here to manage the queue.
Okay. All right. It's just that the users will experience a little bit of delay, but then their request will be fulfilled.
Yes, correct. Nothing would be dropped off.
Okay. Got it.
So
Thank you.
I think someone has the similar question that in the how one would be in production and one would be in development.
Yeah, I only asked that. Anshul here.
So is it fixed now? That question is resolved?
Yeah, I got that. Thank you.
Any more questions? We jump to next slide. Okay, let's go. So how content is served to the end user? See this. This is a very interesting slide. So end user will request for some data. Okay. The request will come to the dispatcher. Dispatcher will check whether the data that end user is requesting, whether it has cached that data or not. Let's say this was the page the end user was requesting for. It has the cache data. It will simply send it back. It won't say anything to publisher. End user will see the data. All are happy. Publisher did not get any trouble. Publisher didn't have to do any processing. Done. In case dispatcher does not have the data, it will go to publisher. Publisher will process the request. It will send it back to dispatcher. Dispatcher will either cache it, okay, or either directly share it to the end user. And in this entire process of serving the end user's request, author is never in the picture only. You're not even using author. It's just publisher and dispatcher which are working together to give the data. The task of author only remains is that I give you a stable code, stable pages. You decide how do you want to handle it. That's it. But this part, this entire section, we as a developers, we won't be touching it many times. 90% of our time would be spent, 90 to 95% of our time would be spent in this author box. Okay. Any question in this content serving mechanism?
Yeah, Ashish, how this server will have all three, like overall if suppose for release one, so release one, all development code will be deployed into the server in the sense which include the author and publisher and dispatcher.
No. See, how it happens is your pipelines would be there, right?
Okay.
Your pipelines will first push all the data in this one. Okay. Inside this, you have something called as replication agents. The pipeline will push the data over here. You have something called as replication agents, which basically acts as a agent to pass the data between these two. Whatever packages or whatever content you will install in your author, same content would be pushed with the help of replication agents in your publisher. Okay. There's no manual intervention. Whatever you install in author, on a single click, it can be pushed to publisher, and both are connected with the help of replication agents. And caching dispatcher, it is also an automatic mechanism. It changes that, hey, something is updated in the publisher. And if the caching rules which you have written, if it allows it to be cached, it will automatically start caching it.
Okay, so one copy of release code only will be deployed into the servers. And
yes, one copy in author, and then author will push the data to publisher.
So AEM will internally will provide all this publisher,
yes.
Whatever. Okay, dispatcher also, it's like a configuration which take handle of user request. Which part of AEM? No, I mean we need to write any module of code for dispatcher, or it's like a configuration so from the AEM side.
Configurations, dispatcher and load balancer.
Okay.
Okay. This is dispatcher plus load balancing, caching and load balancing. So that because see, there would be few seconds would be spent if you're sending data from dispatcher to, if you're involving another entity in your request handling process. Obviously, there is bound to delay happen. Delay is bound to happen. Sorry. So in that case, if you have all this, because see, any page, any website that you open, majority, some of the data would be static, some of the data would be dynamic, right? In this case, let's open another website. What can we open? That's it. This is a static website, okay? Like this page is static. Rest of the couple of other pages would be dynamic. This data that I have authored, this is not going to change. So what dispatcher will do is it will cache this entire page. And whenever you are requesting for costcutters.com, the page would be directly sent by the dispatcher. Publisher won't even be disturbed. It would be faster, let's say, from user till here, it's taking 1 second. From here to here, it's taking 2 seconds, 1 more second. Every process, every communication is taking 1 second, and this is taking 2 seconds to process. 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 seconds would be taken in case this circle has to be followed. In case this is only dispatcher is not processing anything. Dispatcher has only cache. So even if it is taking 2 seconds to find the cache and give it to you, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's only taking 4 seconds. So it's faster. That's why we use dispatcher for caching and other things.
Okay.
Any more questions?
Yeah, so here when you say that author and publisher, like the code is replicated, you mean that it's like whatever is there in author cannot be in publisher, right? But whatever there is there in publisher has to be in author for sure,
Yes. Okay.
right?
In that case, you also have reverse replication agents. Okay. Why are they required? As sometimes you are taking feedback. Think about that. You are taking user feedback about maybe some product, maybe some experience that they had on the website, and you are
Okay.
asking them to enter their details. I mentioned that author does not interact in the process, right?
Yeah.
In the content service. So whenever user is giving some content, dispatcher will give it to the publisher, and publisher would store that user generated content, UGC. Now,
Okay.
you need this new data which is only present in publisher but not in author, for maybe some
Oh.
operation, some kind of analysis, some kind of processing of request or whatever. In that case, you have reverse replication agents which will push this data from here. With the reverse replication agents, you will be pushing it here, and this is your normal replication agents which will push from author. So your user generated data would be placed over here.
Okay. So like this is a specific kind of a field which can be picked up from publisher back to author.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Any more questions? Okay, let's move. And this is the last part of the slide or demo session. Let's understand what exactly is template. Definition wise, it's used to define the structure of your page. So for example, as per my logic of the template, I can decide whether this header, where the header would be allowed to be present, where the breadcrumb, navigation, text component, image component, and footer component would be present. Let's see this in action in this website only, Amazon. See, the layout of this page, you have on the top header, this is one carousel component. At the bottom, you have footer. Then you have these things, right? The let's call them, these are again some components. So the layout of this has already been decided by the template. Now, if you try to open, let's say, appliances, again, the layout is similar, still a little bit different. And if you open, let's say, one more product, the template changed. This is, let's call it product showcase template. So the layout of the page again changed. Now over here, you have some image component. Then you have image preview, which is happening over here. This is the product description section. On the left hand side, you may have product details, maybe some, I'm not sure what component it would it be called, maybe item is arriving. Okay, this is the ad which is being shown over here. This would be your ad component. Similarly, it has basically a layout. If you open this page, home page has a different layout. Your styles page, if you open it, it has a different layout. If you go to the product section, it's a different layout. So all these things, all these kind of layouts are controlled by the templates that you create. Okay. And this is the layout that I'm talking about when I say that it defines the layout of your page. So for example, let's say you are using this is products page, right? Let's call it product template. So if you're using product template, you do not want something like this to be shown on your page, right? So in that case, what you will do is you will restrict the user that, hey, on the left side, only left, on the left side, on this part, only left navigation can be dragged. On the top, you can drag whatever picture you want, but only picture can be dragged away. And on the right side, you will have to drag and drop the component, which is, let's say, which will describe the left navigation. Whatever I select in the left navigation, whatever data that I select, it will simply render those details on the right side. Is it making sense? Are you able to follow?
Yeah, so these templates, do they reside like the standard template? Because in every website, we usually see the same type of components. Like on the left side, there will be like options or the products listing, and then on the right side, we see the same thing. So it's a standard one that is available for us for any company to use?
No, you create depending on your requirement.
Okay.
They are inside your custom code that you create.
Okay.
Okay. And then after that, you have components. So components are reusable modules. Okay. Components are reusable modules which can be dragged and dropped on the page multiple times. Best example of components can be shown on YouTube. Now, see this. Let's say this is one page or one component. Now, if you observe, it has one image or one preview section, one icon, heading, name of the channel, number of views, and when was it uploaded, right? Similarly, you have this thing, same again, the HTML which is rendering this kind of user and look and feel for you, it's the same HTML, same classes, same CSS. But in the skeleton of the HTML, only the content is changing. You see, this is also image, this is also image. This is also the channel icon, heading, channel name, how many times this has been viewed, and how many days ago it was uploaded. When was it uploaded? Similar thing is, so it's the same component which has been dragged and dropped multiple times, and you have authored the component with a different content. So this is the reusable section, reusable HTML, which can be dragged and dropped multiple times, and you can author it again and again to render different data, different content on the page with the help of same component. Is it making sense? What exactly a component is? Or let's search for. See, this can also be one component. The underlying HTML remains the same. It's just that you have inserted a new data in the heading section of the HTML, maybe in the description of the HTML somewhere. Just one second. So any questions in this component part? Again, this is just the theoretical thing. Once we dive how component is created, how you drag and drop it, all these things will start making a deeper sense. Right now, are you able to understand what exactly is template and what exactly is a component? guys?
Yeah, it does make
Yeah.
sense.
So any questions?
So if I understood it correctly, template is the basic structure. Like you put containers which will contain whether the data or the video or the image. And your components are these things like data, video, or image. Is it?
No.
No.
Template will only define once. Template will give you a page, empty page, which will have a layout.
Mhm.
Layout will have restrictions that, hey, you cannot do whatever you want on this page. For example, let's go to the cost cutters page again. This page. So in the template, you will divide this page into two sections. First would be this section. Just focus on the mouse. This section would be a first part, this entire thing. And this is the left side and this is the right side. On the left side, you put a restriction that no other component except for this can be dragged and dropped over here.
Oh, okay. So we
And on the
define
right
the
side,
components within that particular container of
exactly
the
this
template.
exactly.
Okay.
So you decide a layout that nothing can be whenever this page would be made, it would be divided into two sections. One is this one on the left side of the mouse, and one is on the right side. You cannot, using this template, you cannot create a page like this. Oh, sorry, there's no page. You cannot create a page like this because there's no division over here. But on that page, you have already divided the page into two sections. So this component cannot be dragged and dropped over there. Okay, your doubt is valid. Okay, and once we see this in AEM, all your doubts would go away in the practical sessions. I understand it's difficult to imagine a lot of things, a lot of the statements that I'm making.
No, that's fine. I still got quite a bit of it. Thank you.
Guys, any more questions?
Yeah, Ashish, I have one. I'm good on this understanding these templates and the components, but what my doubt is, let take an Amazon site. So what you have shown is this one is home appliance, and the other one is like a graduates. So if it is two different modules, if you are going to do some enhancements, upgrade on one of the module, so is it required like a whole entire website, like a whole bundle we need to deploy and do that, or only like if it is the changes on gadgets accessory related, that module alone we can change and get it to that package and doing, I mean, module wise individual packages can be deployed and we can continue. I mean, it is not like entire website bundles and all we need to deploy every time, or what are the module is needed change that module alone we can make it as a new package, new version of package, and we can deploy and do the continue this releases. How it will support
Earlier it used to happen that in the manual process, people used to deploy packages. That suppose, let's say I created a new component, okay, or let's say I modified this component. So whatever modification I had done, I'll pick it up from dev environment. I'll test it in QA or stage, and once I have done that in QA and stage, I'll pick it up and push it in this one. What do you call it? In the production. Only that selective changes that I have done. But now we have pipelines. So pipelines do not deploy the selective. They do the entire deployment.
all other modules also, it will all packages.
It would be
Suppose if
redeployed, exactly. because what pipelines does for you is it will, the code base that you have, it will rebuild it again.
Okay.
But the best part is there won't be any downtime, even if you're deploying.
Okay.
You do not have to shut down your AEM instance for deployment. Deployment can happen when your AEM is on, and at the same time, other people will, like, the delay or the inconvenience that is experienced by the people, it's very limited. They won't even realize that something is going on in the backend.
Okay. So what my understanding is, if it is in a body content and footer changes, if there is no footer module change, if there is no changes, but this pipeline will build again footer module and getting new version of a package as well as new components of a body center page of that another package. So all the packages it will construct and deploy
Yes.
with pipeline. Okay. Okay. And Ashish, on this course, I'm seeing this OSGI bundles, which is forms, or that is a different forms.
No, it won't be forms. It's the backend part. So when I say OSCI bundles, let me just 1 second. This is running on. So this is the OSCI bundles that I'm talking about. OSCI bundles are your Java code, the backend services that you have. With the help of Maven, they gets compiled, they gets built into a deployable jar file, which gets deployed into your web console bundles or OSCI. This each individual bundle is called OSCI bundle. They gets deployed in your web console. Okay. And whatever dependency they have, again, for this deployment as well, there's no downtime. If I want to delete any bundle, I can delete it. If I want to upload a new bundle, I can simply come over here and select the bundle wherever it is located and simply install it.
Okay, the deployed version of AEM code is jar.
Yes. Java code gets compiled into a jar file, and all your other codes, packages or components, templates, and that gets converted into package, which gets deployed into AEM. We'll see all these things.
Okay.
Theoretically, it's difficult to explain, and even if I explain, unless you have seen those things, you cannot imagine, like you cannot form the picture that I'm trying to show you.
Okay. And AEM will support this multilingual.
Yes, MSM is supported. Multilingual or multi-site management is there. Internationalization is also there in AEM.
And my side, one more last is like, how is there any support also will provide, like if real time any issues we are getting while working, will be, is there any channel to touch base with you, like after
Srinivas, the organizer, can help you on this.
Okay.
He can answer this question for you.
Yeah, got it. Understood, Ashish.
Yep. Is any more questions?
Hi, this is Ajit. Hello. Hello.
Yeah,
Sir.
I'm listening. Yes, please go ahead.
Actually, can we learn about the multi-site management and all that in this course?
See, that again depends how fast we are moving. If we are if we have time, definitely yes.
Okay. And what about dispatcher also, configuration and all that?
Dispatcher, I can explain you the things. It's difficult to show the dispatcher in action in your local environment.
Okay.
Because you cannot show all those things related to dispatcher in local. Unless, but I can explain if what dispatcher is, how the files configured. It would be a theoretical kind of session.
Okay, thank you.
Hello.
Yeah, yes.
Hey,
Any
Ashish.
more questions? Yes.
Yeah. Hey, Ashish, will we be having this session every day,
Yes, Monday to Friday.
Monday to Friday? Okay, thanks.
Ashish, when it going to start regular session?
Again, for that, organizer will inform you on that. I think you can tomorrow. We can start from tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow or day after at
Do
max.
we need to text? Do we need to text Srinivas on the on the WhatsApp number?
Yes, I think he has shared his details, right,
Yeah.
in the chat window. Please open and yeah. So he's saying that we'll have the day one session tomorrow at the same meeting link. His number is there in the chat. Everyone, please save it. So you can decide whether you want to enroll in this course or no. This is his number on my screen. Just reach out to him for further details.